Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you, we just created this material here, was how to do and let me go ahead and go to maximize this and let me work on this full screen for a little while, is how to do sort of a recessed shelf with a self-illuminating material, just to get a quick idea of how that works. So if I look at this section, I've got a ceiling right here, and I'm just going to pick that ceiling, and it's at 15 feet. I'm going to move it up to, let's move it up to 16'6", right? And then I'll just copy it down. So now I've got two ceilings, right, one right on top of each other, and it depends on how you want to do this. You can go to your reflected ceiling plan and do this, but I often do it this way. So if I go to my level 1 floor plan and I WTZA, so window tile, zoom everything, I can't see this ceiling in here because it's above the cut plane, but I can come in and I just want to cut a hole in the ceiling so I have a little shelf here. So if I pick it in this view and then I left click on nothing in this window, it's still selected in here, and if I go to edit boundary, I can see that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to offset, and I'll offset this by 1 foot and just click on that, and then use the trim command to trim out the corners. And what that's going to do is it's going to put a hole right in the middle of this. So if I hit check, right, you now see that I've created this little shelf. And then if I go to my default 3D view, I can come in, and if I highlight this, I can temporarily hide that top ceiling. So I'll just hide that element. And then what I can do is I can create a self-illuminating material and put it on here. So I'll go to MT, and I'll just create a new material, and I'll call it Self-Illuminating. Whoops, did I spell it? Oh, such a terrible speller. Illuminating. There we go. And then I'll use graphic appearance, use render appearance for graphic, for shading, and then I'll come in here and make this guy self-illuminate. And I'll just make the color white for right now. Just leave it that white, and I'll just take this color and make it white as well. And we'll leave it on a dim glow for right now, and we'll adjust it in a minute. But if I click OK, I don't necessarily want to turn this whole piece on the bottom and the top to be self-illuminating. So I could potentially, this has metal studs. I could turn the metal studs on the top to self-illuminating, but all I really want to do is just paint the face of this guy. So this is an instance where I would paint something. So if I go to modify and I go to paint right here, click on that, it'll bring this up. And if I go to the self-illuminating, right, and pick it, I can then come out here and it will pick faces of things. So if I just left click on this, it will paint it with that material. And then if I minimize this, and let's go ahead and maximize this guy, let's go ahead and back over here, right, and you can see it, like if I zoom in, you can start to see it illuminating, but I'll just pop through there. So you can see that guy glowing, right? So if I again half size this and bring my Revit back up, and put that on a smaller screen, I can then come in, and if I go to my materials, and I tend to do most of my stuff in Revit. You can do it through the Inkscape material editor as well. So it's kind of up to you, but if I come in and do this brighter, like an LED panel, hit apply, you'll see sometimes it takes a little while for it to readjust. You might have to open it, but it'll come in and start to adjust that. If I do the color like to 2800, right, and apply, you'll see it get warmer, right? Sometimes it takes, it's annoying, like you kind of have to restart it to get it to work, but let's try that. I'll pause. So I started Inkscape. Sometimes you have to do that, but you can see it's now a much warmer color. Let me see if I can get it to to update this time. So if I go to the appearance, let's go ahead and set that back to 6500 and then apply, right? So sometimes you have to start it. It's a little funny the way that it works, but if you do a filter color, it will also update it. So if I do this and hit apply, let's go ahead and do this guy and then hit apply. Yeah, it just, oh, sometimes it drives me crazy. Let me pause again. And sometimes if you go from one view to another view, it will reset itself, and that's possible. So let's go ahead and close that. Right, and we'll go back to 3D view 2, sort of zoom in on this guy again, see what it, right, there we go. So now also closing the dialog box for the material will probably do it, so let's try that. I think that's probably what my main issue was. So now you can see the red glow. If I go to material over here in Revit, oh, not here. So if I go to material over here in Revit, and then let's go ahead and change this back to white, and change this back to white, and then change this to 2800, and then click OK. See if it'll reset itself. Yep. Sometimes you just have to sort of restart it and reset it. You can see me moving it is actually resetting it. So sometimes you kind of have to play around with it a little bit to get it to do exactly what you want it to do. So anyway, that's it for that guy. And then we'll take a look at maybe some furniture later.